Welcome everyone to our wonderful discussion today, and I hope everyone's doing great. We're having a discussion with Kate and I about the higher self. So it should be a lot of fun because we talked about love at first, so now we're going to talk about the higher self. So, Kate, did you want to begin our questions about this?
Oh, well, yeah. This is always another episode of Conversations with Joseph, and there's no shortage of questions. So, I mean, when we're talking about the higher self, you know, I I would love to begin as far as what's the difference between the higher self and the soul, or whenever we're looking at that, how can we best explain that to folks who are joining us today?
Okay, so kind of the idea of a higher self is that it is the aspect of itself that separated from God, Goddess, all is. And as part of that, we look at, you know, quantum mechanics and quantum physics, or the Big Bang, right? So the Big Bang was God, Goddess, all there is, became aware of itself, and then asked the question, why? And from that explosion, exploded into, different aspect of consciousness, exploding into exploding. And somewhere along the line, about 500 millionth explosion or whatever, that we became aware of, oh, we want to ask the question why. And then we created lifetimes in order to experience, to answer that question. And so the soul is the aspect of self that is connected through the deep emotions of great love or great pain. And so it doesn't, and so it's like, in a sense, it guides us, not necessarily guides us, but it allows us to, well, yeah, if you have grief, if someone dies, that's a lot of pain. And so that pain is to let us know that we're alive, and then to move, to learn from that pain, or through great joy in that sense. The higher self is more with, and so the soul, like the higher self, is with us through all the different lifetimes. And so distinguishing energy, as we learned it, is that there is a, I want to say, a signature vibration. A soul is very slow. It's not, it looks at things slowly. Take your time, deepening the breath, feeling, in that sense of, and so it provides us with, you know, the higher self kind of explains things. The soul, to me, just is. It just exists. Here it is. You fall in love and you feel a great deal of love, but when that person hurts you or leaves you or whatever, there's a pain that's coming out. So it's a natural part of life. It can't really, it's not anything that can go. It just becomes, you just need to become more aware of its presence in your life. And it is that lens between God, Goddess, all there is in us. And so it doesn't interpret energy, but it is just energy. Yes, it has no evaluation of it, but it is a sacred part of us. That's what my idea would be. What do you think?
So I love that. I love that. So when I think of the higher self, I there's definitely the soul aspect is so ancient, and it's so gargantuan and enormous, and it's so it's perfectly knowing, and that is slow as molasses, and it's in no rush to get anywhere, and it's so simple. Really that focus and that destiny of the soul, I think, is very simple. But the higher self, I'm with you as far as it's that Johnny on the spot, but also so quiet and guiding, and that perfect aspect and complement, I would say, to the soul, as well as my individual personality. It just works. And I think
Yeah,
that's another, it has to all jive together. It's all kind of a complementary, fit together. But that higher self piece is not here to steer me one direction or the other. It's going to help, but it's a quiet voice. It's a consistent, and it does have its own personality. And it's a guide. It's definitely a guidance system, a guidance point for me.
yeah, and that's what as we try to understand that the soul gets to know us. It isn't necessarily something like our stuff is about growing and understanding and guiding, but the soul has that presence of I'm here. You will feel pain, you will feel love, you will feel joy, and each time of it, and the deeper you can feel it, the closer you're going to feel. Now, I know it sounds really crazy, but time of soul is also a time when there's war going on. It's a spiritual time because war is like people are transitioning from one here to the next world. It's a very intense time. So it has no judgment, right? It's just the way it is. There are people dying. There's war going on. You're gonna feel pain. You're gonna feel loss. And then the higher self. Okay, so that's an experience that I can learn from because the higher self is geared towards the idea. Okay, I separated from God. God is all there is, and it became an awareness. And in that awareness, I want to answer the question why. So I created lifetime after lifetime to do that awareness. And it is the expansion of consciousness, more so. But the soul, I mean, with the higher self, I'm sorry, and the soul is conscious of its own presence. And so we have to become aware of the soul's presence and allow it to be okay to grieve, to cry, to hurt, to be angry or whatever. But these are elements, but deeply, I think souls are, to me, deeply entrenched in our emotional self, more so than anything else. And that's kind of like one of the things of the value itself. I would talk about the value itself, the awareness, um, and the and one of the aspects of value itself is self-respect, and that is honoring your emotional nature, not to pretend you don't have emotions. I find myself today getting angry at someone, then I well, okay, it's okay to be angry. He's nuts. He tries a little, and then you move forward. You move on. A child, if you notice a baby when it cries, it's angry. It learns anger, and then it lets it go. That's the thing you're supposed to be able to do, is to let it go. So the soul is always saying, experience this and move it on, keep moving. And when you experience anger, or you experience, and so then we also have a choice about how we choose to express that emotion. There's an appropriate way to do that. There's a way to express emotion that's going to be helpful or growthful after you grow, but also that you're going to make mistakes about it. And the soul is always constantly saying, "It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I'm just here. I'm not going anywhere. I still love you. I still love. You're still connected. So let's let it go." So that's what distinguishes because what we're talking about here, and I think we talked about it earlier. We talked about love is the becoming more conscious, and that's where we differentiate between religion or um, and spirituality, and that the old way, of course, is, and we were talking about growth, right? Because we're doing this whole thing of growing and having personal growth and transformation and change and so forth. Um, and the old way, when one would go to the mountaintop or going to a teacher or guru and you sit and meditate all day long and you feel all this bliss and that was a great way of transformation and growing. But today we're asked more so than ever before to fully participate in our world that is becoming new. And as we evolve, that's an important time. So it is not. So that's why we call it the new age instead of the old age. The old way was, it was okay, and it was okay. And so there was a lot of suffering and pain. If we look at what we have in our collective consciousness about those people that we say are evolved, Jesus died on the cross with people with nails in his feet and hands. That's a pretty brutal. That's a martyr, and we love, and so we don't necessarily want. That was good for that age, but the new age is not necessarily about being a martyr. It's about being fully participating in the evolution of consciousness, and that we now are ready to evolve to this next level. Right. So that was great. I mean, it's nothing wrong with that. It's great to have that, but this is new. The old way you're looking at that's old. This is new. Where we went to church every Sunday and the minister would tell us all these things, but now we become, wait a minute, I have a higher self. Maybe I can ask my higher self for guidance and answers. How novel. Well, then you would have to trust, and that helps you to evolve and to become more conscious, become more conscious, become more conscious. And that's and one of the things about the old way was very lonely. It was very, to grow spiritually, it was a lonely path, and you got to be all by yourself, especially sitting in that cave. I mean, I remember a lifetime sitting in a cave in the mountaintop, meditating and the beads, and eating a couple of seeds a day, and feeling that you could feel the energy from God because you're closer, in a sense, close to death, but you're feeling that energy. But now we're looking at, all right, so now I can meditate, but then I have energy now, and there's, this world is allowing us to expand our consciousness, and so therefore, I need to be my awareness self saying I need to fully be more participatory in creating the new world, and that now goes back to that thing that God, that spark of consciousness within in us. I don't know if you ever remember. I don't know of a time where you had this experience where um, the gurus and everybody saying, "Okay, I am God, I am God, I am God." You have to go, "I am God. I really am God." Yes, you have that spark of consciousness within a spark. There is an aspect of God. God is all there is, but it doesn't make us God, right?
Right.
And we know that we're not God, but but it's there, and so that's again a level of consciousness now. Oh, there's a spark in me that says that is that aspect of God. God is all there is, and I can access that spark and allow it to be a guidance, and we call it the higher self. But now that's an awareness, and that's fairly recent. I would gonna say within maybe the last 100 years or so. It is not something very new. So this is a new consciousness. If when I look at this, Kate, I don't know if you're aware of this too, but we got television, radio, we got all these movies and everything. That's a lot of stuff going into our conscious mind. I mean, subconscious. And it's never been that much before. So it's a lot. So is that prompting the awareness? I don't know, but I think we are evolving in awareness, that it has an impact, watching a TV and watching a movie and then, and being, and then looking at, I was never here, we're living, say, in the primitive time or even 300 years ago. What was happening in Australia didn't really matter to me. I didn't know, but now I can turn on the television. Oh, there's really bad fires last year. Wow, that's terrible. Those people are suffering. And you connect in, and so the awareness is expanding. And I think it's very natural. It isn't something that's uh, yeah, it's part of evolution. So that's what I'm thinking too.
Well,
Anyway,
what do you think about like Plato and Aristotle? Like, so when we talk about that, now I'm thinking, I wonder, as long as we've had a spiritual tribe guiding us, So however anyone wants to look at that those unseen assistants, that unseen assistance. I wonder if we've had a higher self the entire time we've at least had that. And if that has been begging us to really expand our consciousness and our awareness, to ask.
Well, yeah, well, so if you're looking at this, the way I understand it, so I went go back to that analogy. So the explosion, and then there's explosion from God got us out of this thing. Why? And so the higher self then became aware of itself in its separation, and to answer the question why I created a lifetime. And goes back, and this is what I wanted to say too. So that becomes conscious. It's the unconscious, right? And then within each lifetime has a subconscious, right? And so it carries that information, so the subconscious. Now, the seat of power, if you're looking at man in the sensing of, in the beginning, which you asked the question, it was very instinctual. He had instincts, you survived the day to day, you got some food and you went to sleep that night, and you woke up in the next day and you to go at it again. But somewhere along the line, as man began to recognize, and this is some of that biblical stuff where man beginning given dominion over the earth. The way that grows, just like a planet evolves, then human consciousness will evolve. Oh, I need to convey information. And we talked about this communication, that little cart there. It's communicate to somebody what happened to me yesterday. Oh, so now if I communicating to somebody, I start to draw pictures on the wall, right? Hey, I cut out the big giraffe or whatever, a buffalo or cow or, something to eat, and went out. And then somewhere language to evolve to, I need to express how that felt to me, right? And so and then when someone died, I cried. What was that about? It's about love being lost. So we've been from instinctual to now, we've been moving the seat of consciousness from the instinctual for what would that be the unconscious, so unconscious to the subconscious mind. And Freud and Jung talked about this. So now the unconscious, right? I mean the subconscious. So you had the yin and the yang and the Oedipus and all those things that go on in the subconscious. And they gave us a mapping of the subconscious, right? And then, but now the seat of power has shifted to the conscious mind. And so everything now we have become conscious. As we were talking about, you need to become conscious. You need to become aware. You need to become more conscious of what you're doing. More conscious of the impact you're having upon the. More conscious of when creating a plastic bottle collectively that maybe in the long term that may have an impact. All right, and so now it is showing us where we have been unconscious. When you throw pollution into the earth or throw pollution into the water, it does something, and now you need to clean it up, become more conscious. So we're moving in that direction. And it's as if when you're a child, a baby in that sense, is that you instinctual thing is I'm hungry, so I need to shriek and cry. So that's instincts, right? And then the terrible two comes along, it's still instincts when you're that terrible two. You're in the grocery store with mom, and you recognize I can walk now. Hey, I can just keep going. Come back and just keep running. You don't know. So that's why you have to guard children, because they're not aware of that car crossing the street, right? So you have to help them to become aware in their awareness. And this is a biological instinctual. We go through puberty and everything, and then suddenly you're dumped into adulthood, right? It's by instincts. All of a sudden the body is you're 21, 20, late teens, early 20s, and you're an adult. Now what? So now you become conscious, right? Well, I want to have this type of job. I want to do this. I want to do, and then some of us become aware of our own emotional nature, become aware of our spiritual nature. You know what? I've been going to church every Sunday, and JC, I'm not really feeling it anymore. Or I've been praying 5 times a day, or I did this thing with the Moses at the mountaintop and the burning bush, but is there something more to this? And so to give ourselves permission to study. Now that became, especially in the 60s or 70s, that human potential movement, right? What's humanly possible. Then we started into that metaphysical movement or the spiritual potential because it opened up possibilities. A human potential movement. Hey, listen, I'm gonna go to this workshop because I gotta get that relationship right. I gotta get that job. I gotta get that money. And that's what human potential was, right? We create the own reality. Yes. Oh, so I'm creating this. Well, let me create more money. And we learn techniques to do that, right? Create all the things that we want. So that's part of the awareness. And now I want to have more love in my life. I want to have more joy, more enchantment. That's where the higher self comes in. It says, hey, okay, so now you're awake. Let's go and expand that awareness of the higher self, because in the higher self, when it's separated, just again, self and distinguishing this lifetime, separated from God, God is all it is. He made a promise. I will come home. I will come back and go back into the one and to become one with God, God is all it is again. So that's the spiritual promise that we made. And so we are now where we were on a journey of separating and forgetting. Now we're on a journey of to remember parts of ourselves. It's a journey home to remember who we really are and will be again. And so that's the unconscious awareness, and the subconscious awareness comes in like that. Now, I know there's a big movement on this unconscious, unconscious. It's all the same. I make a distinction that there's a subconscious for every lifetime and the unconscious for all the lifetimes. The unconscious is that aspect of us that is the higher self, and it connects us to God. God is all it is. And in that awareness, it isn't like I'm aware of God all the time, but that it comes in and out, and then now we recognize, oh, I'm a choice. I can choose this, and this path of the higher self is filled with love and happiness and joy and enchantment and all these wondrous things that you have a wonderful relationship. We talked about, I think we said this too before, that you can have this, oh, God is going to get me. He's going to, and I went through that too. We all go through something. Well, I have. I can't say everybody. But then when you come back into this awareness of self, oh, I can have a loving relationship with God. God is. And my love is good enough. Okay. Does that make any sense whatsoever?
Yeah, you covered a lot of really good stuff there, and shared a lot. And from like the higher self perspective, when that starts to kick in, and that exploratory process starts to begin, what are some ways that people can work with better knowing and understanding their higher self, and what they can do with their higher self once they really join forces and can truly work in harmony with your higher self?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, because now you become, it is in this awareness that you are at choice at any given moment. Now, there is a need to distinguish between ego, and we talk about soul and ego, and the higher self and so forth. Am I listening to the right voice? Well, here's my rule of thumb. If you find yourself rationalizing about a behavior that you know not to be doing, you're 99% sure you're an ego, because you're like, you know what? I really would like to have that drink. or if if that's an issue for you, some people it's not, or drugs, or I really feel like I want to tell that person off, and because it's pissing me off so bad, and yeah, and so that's a rationalization. You're crossing the line. You start rationalizing, and so you start. For us, I can't say it's for everybody. That's a negative ego. Now, ego tries to get you to explore consciousness through two things, or the other one, less than. I'm never good enough. My love is not good enough. I never find it. It's never going to work. Nothing is ever going to work for me. Or I'm better than everybody else. I'm just so aware. Hey, I'm better than science today because we're aware of our leaders thing. I know more than science. Hey, these germs are not going to bother me. So again, rationalization. So that's the negative ego, and so you want, and what it hates or dislikes. Let's put it that way. More than anything else, to have light shine on it, and it's pretty dumb. It isn't creative. It's repetitive. It would do the same thing over and over again. So that's why sometimes, I don't know if you have friends who, she maybe a girlfriend, boyfriend, or friends. I've been through this. I've been this guy in this relationship, and it's just like I keep doing it. And okay, so then you give them, and listen, why don't you look at it like this? Okay, I can do that. And then a week later, they come back with the same thing. So that's the negative ego, because it said you're less than everything. And so as you love it, and then you allow it to heal. So that's the voice. Now you can't pretend like you don't have it. The higher self, in other words, is always about expansion. And each time you say, I'm going to meditate, your higher self gets so excited and say, yes, 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 you're going to tell me. Or, yeah, I'm going to do some yoga because I really like breathing. I want to take a walk in the woods because it's beautiful. Higher self loves all that. It just, every time you do something wonderful, it expresses it. It's waiting for you to have that expression. And it doesn't judge you. That's the thing about ego. It judges, and you will have to make sometimes evaluations about things. But, when you find yourself just judging, even judging yourself, oh, I'm not good enough. I can never do this. I can never be this. I can never do this. This is never going to work. So that's a judgment. And then, you stop listening. But the higher self goes, so I need to figure some things out. And you go, okay, I'm going to meditate. Higher self goes, yes, please meditate all the time. Not all the time, but yeah, thank you. And you're loving. I look outside and there's this wonderful tree, and I'm sitting here and just like, wow, that's kind of nice. So we have these moments, and even as a child, you have these moments, but you're not aware of them. You can't classify them. But as an adult, as a spiritual adult, you recognize. Well, that time I was walking by the ocean or down, and it was so beautiful, and I saw the sunset, and it made me want to cry, and I felt love, and that type of thing. That's the higher self and your soul speaking to you. So those are the awareness that one wants to have. And part of the meditation today is that we will actually go in and you can experience your higher self. And and this is the one way that I've learned, and I can share what I've learned with you. But there are numerous other ways, but this way I know works because it worked for me, and so it may work for you. So to experience the higher self and that divine love and the inspiration, and to aspire to the sense that you are more, that you're here to fully participate in a world that's becoming new. Okay, so
Well, and did you want to, we're coming up on our point in time where if we'd like to go into a meditation, or if we'd like
yes,
to go right ahead.
go right ahead into the meditation, and just the understanding to this. The last thing I'll say that it is a process, and process, that's one of the big things that some people now say in the consciousness is process. So one of the processes that there's responsibility when the first part of this, like with your higher self or soul or spirit, it is awareness without responsibility. And as you're coming into this 7-step process, you come into the 4th step where it's the most condensed. Okay, I'm aware, but I think I might be responsible. And you come out the other side where you are awareness with responsibility. And that same thing with the value itself, where you have awareness, all right? Awareness, there's self-worth, self-esteem, self-love, self-confidence, self-respect. And then the last one is self-realization. Well, awareness, this first one is self-awareness. I'm aware. I have impact upon the world. I can't pretend I don't have impact. I can't pretend that when I say something or do something that I don't have impact. But now, is it the last part of the process is self-realization. I choose to consciously direct that impact, and I choose to direct it in a positive, uplifting way. So now that's that realization. Okay. So that's this. So, we've been going through this process in an evolution of consciousness where we went from, having gurus and teachers and ministers and all that to now we're like, well, you can still have a guru or teacher, but you're also aware I need to be responsible for my spirituality. It's my spirituality. And this is, and my love is good enough, and it will always be good enough. And I can have more love, more light, more joy in my life if I choose. So I'm going to choose to have more love. Anyway, so I was thinking, okay, so it's time to meditate. You ready?
Let's go for it.
So what we're going to do, if you just close your eyes, take a deep breath in and relax. And just allow yourself to relax as we've been talking today. And as with your eyes closed, it will tell you what's going to happen in this meditation is that you're going to find yourself standing on the road, and you have your past behind you. You look back at the past and maybe potholes, and then the future will be this flat road. And then there's awareness. You're going to find yourself with somebody who's burning leaves and the babbling brook on the other side. And as you go down the road and have these wonderful experiences, you're going to come to a bridge. It's going to be a covered bridge. And then going through the covered bridge and coming out the other side into a night sky with stars. And in that, you're going to see a star that's going to be like a shooting star, but this star doesn't disappear. It actually falls upon the earth. 2 hilltops away, you run to that hilltop, and then you're going to go and you're going to find the old man leaning on the birch walking stick, and you'd be the gatekeeper to allow you in to meet and to be with your higher self, the fallen star, or again, fallen that appears to be a fallen star. So in that awareness with your eyes closed, just become aware. And just start out with 7. And the 7, just allow you to become aware of the body and going deeper and deeper. 7 allows you to become within yourself, to bring your consciousness within you. 6, going deeper now, falling deeper. 5, becoming more aware, more aware, more aware. 6, 5, 4, deeper, go deeper. 3, 2, 1, 1, 1. And just imagine you are seeing yourself upon the road, just standing upon this wide open road. It's a dirt road. And on your right side, there's an old man raking leaves. And He's also taken it into a fire to burn the leaves. You see the trail of smoke going up. On the other side, there is a babbling brook, a stream of water cascading over rocks. You become aware of that as well. And if you can allow yourself, begin to expand the road, smooth, but then you take a look behind you. This is your past. The road filled with potholes and boulders or a broken tricycle, a doll that's lost its arms, a wagon with just one wheel. This is your past. And you're moving from your past into a future that is unknown. And then to feel yourself becoming aware of your body, taking a step. The first step, feel the weight of the first step upon your foot. And take another step. And you're walking down the dirt road, letting go of your past and walking into a future. And the more you walk down this road, the more exhilarated you find yourself. And you want to bound and you start to laugh and you're so joyous walking down the road, and you could be flipping and do somersaults. You can do anything. You're free of the past. This is you walking down the road into your future. Yes, it is unknown, but this future is filled with light and love and joy and happiness. So much so that you just start to dance down the road. Just keep dancing and swinging your arms, and you're free. You are free. And just before you could figure it out, there you are looking upon a bridge. And as you see the bridge, you're there standing ready to step onto the bridge. And this bridge is a covered bridge. And you step onto the wood, walking across the bridge, walk into the cover, the darkness. The darkness is so inviting to you. You can feel yourself moving along. You feel the light and the love inside the darkness. And you're not afraid. There's no fear here at all. Walking through this bridge, walking through the cover, and you see a speck of light before you, and then before you know it, you're outside of the cover of the bridge and you're into the night. The night sky is stars. There's so many stars. You feel like you could reach out and touch the stars. You're just about a quarter inch away from the sky itself, from the night sky. All these wondrous stars. And then there's one star that appears like a ball of light, like a shooting star, but this star doesn't disappear. So many times you've seen before a shooting star disappear. But this star lands on the earth on a hilltop, 2 hilltops away from where you are now. And you're so excited, you bound down the hill and going through the valley between first and second hill, coming back up to the top, second hill, and then going down, and there it is, coming back up, looking, seeing the star, the light. This light is so bright and so brilliant, and it beckons you. There appears the old man, The old man, bent with age, sparkle in his eye, and the sparkle reflects the light of the star that's fallen. He's leaning upon a walking stick, a birch walking stick, hooded. He's hooded. You can make out his eyes and his face. As you draw closer to him, you can see a tear falling down his face. The gatekeeper. And then you stand at the edge of your higher self, at the edge. And you see the light. And you feel the light. And you feel your love. And then you walk into the light, deeper into the light, deeper into this light. The light. This is your higher self. This is your higher self. And you're standing in the middle of your higher self, holding the space within yourself. You feel your love. Your love is good enough. And you say, I love you. I love you. And you feel the undulating love of your higher self. This love becomes more and deeper, undulating love, rippling through your whole being. Because of love, feel the love. Just be in this love. Become aware of its deepening and allow yourself to expand the love you feel. Just awareness of self. May yourself allow yourself to tumble and to stretch and to laugh and to jump and to fear nothing. Allow yourself to be in this love, feeling the deepening expansion of love. Somersault, dance again. This is your heart. This is who you are. Your love is good enough. Feel that love coming from your higher self to you now. Allow it to inundate you and imbue you with the awareness of love, joy, enchantment. And in this moment, become aware of yourself and your higher self speaks to you. We love you. We love you. We love who you are. We love who you're becoming. And you say to yourself, I love you. I love me. I love who I am. And I love who I am becoming. And as a particular problem you've been working on, particular process that you're going through, and ask in this awareness for help. You're not alone anymore. You can ask for help. You don't have to do it by yourself. Your higher self will help you. Ask for healing. Ask for resolution. And be that now. And there may be someone else that you want to send your love and awareness to that has a problem that you, in this state of awareness, can send them resolution. You are the light in the world, and needs all the light it can get. You are the love, and this love has profound impact upon the world as you are aware. And now you realize you can direct your awareness of love to create a future for a world becoming new. And once again, allow your higher self to inundate you with even deeper love. And you give back love. You and your higher self exchange love. And you become aware of your covenant with God. God is all there is. And you renew your promise. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Stepping, allowing this awareness. And you find yourself back at the edge of your higher self. And the old man winks at you and smiles. and how reluctantly you find yourself back in a room and you find yourself coming back into your body. Just into your body, you see a spark of light that moves into you. And remember that the spark, this speck of light, will always be there. And coming back into awareness, coming back into your body. You're aware of where you're sitting or lying. You're aware of the sounds inside of your body in the room. And we will count from 1 to 5. 1, 2, come back, come back, come back. 3, 4, and 5. Then coming back. Take a deep breath in. Take another deep breath. Hold it for a little bit longer for a straining and then letting go. Okay. So, coming back, I'm looking at you, Kate.
The higher, what an incredible work.
Yes. So we went to the higher self. So, the meditation is simple enough as you found, and we will put this on the website, and we are going to put this up on YouTube, and then we're going to create a separate meditation for the josephsmeditation.com. And you'd like to go there and repeat it. But it's simple enough to follow. So we truly have enjoyed the experience of sharing it with you. Did you have another question, Kate, before we depart?
Oh, just I think it's more information about the higher self in the show notes. So thank you everyone for tuning in. And Joseph, thank you so much for sharing with us again.
All right. And we send you our love and gratitude and always peace.